Hi, I'm Doug, your tech support representative here in Atlantic British, and in this video we're going to touch base on how to replace the rear wiper arm on your Discovery 2. This will cover essentially your 99 to 2004 Land Rover Discoveries. Now, these usually one of several reasons why you're going to replace the arm. Some of them, after a while, they develop some corrosion on the pivot and they no longer will hold tension against the blade. You'll see the blade going back and forth, but yet it's not cleaning the back window. A lot of cases it's because of the frozen pivot. Other times they simply break. You turn the wipers on when your rear window is all iced up and there's snow or buildup on that, and it can actually break the arm off. So for whatever reason, we're going to touch base on replacing it. Now, when you get the aftermarket unit that we supply, which is nice because it comes with the cover, it comes with the washer hose, comes with the nozzle, it's essentially a complete unit. So what's nice about that is, because to initially remove that arm, you're going to take the cover and you're going to twist it and pull it off. Sometimes it breaks, sometimes it doesn't, but it doesn't matter. You got a new one with your replacement piece, so that's fine. So we're going to move you in a little closer just to show you the location of this wiper arm. Take a good look at it. You can get to it behind the spare. Some of you may feel more comfortable taking the spare off and putting it right out in front of you. That's your choice. But we're going to do this demonstration without removing the spare tire. Alright, so what we're initially going to do is we're going to pop this cover off. It's only held down by two small pins on both sides. You can peel it right off. And what that's going to do right there is expose the nut. Now before we take the nut off, you'll notice the washer line disappears through a grommet into the back of the door. So we're going to open up the door and we're going to take the inner trim panel off so that we can access where that hose connects. So to remove this inner panel, we're going to take the Phillips screw out of the door handle, then we can take this outer bezel off. There are no other screws on this particular design, but if you have the premium sound system, you're going to have a box right here with the two woofer speakers in it, and that's going to have a bunch of Phillips head screws that you're going to remove. But again, it's just take all the screws out, the front cover comes off, the box comes out with the speakers. Simply disconnect the two connectors on the back of each speaker, and that'll take that system out. So with a Phillips head screwdriver, we'll take that screw out. So even though we've carefully removed this trim panel, you still end up breaking the heads off of probably about half the pins that are going to retain this. So you can either order the replacement clips ahead of time, or try to save the ones that didn't break and put them in corners and two in the center, and that'll hold the panel in and make it look halfway decent. Now, if you line up the center of your spare, which is about where your washer hose comes through, we're going to just drop down. We have an opening right here, and what we're going to do is cut the vapor barrier, because you'll never ever get it off in one piece. And if you look, right here is your washer hose. And we're just going to simply disconnect that. Twist it back and forth a little bit. That little piece of plastic with the black cap on it is essentially a check valve, so that when you are not using the washer, it doesn't bleed all the way back into the system. It basically holds it in check, so to speak. Just keep twisting and just carefully back and forth. There we go. And we just push the hose through. So, let's close up. Alright, so because the nut is recessed a little bit into the base of that, we're going to use a socket and ratchet, 13 millimeter, to get on there. And as you can see, I can get my arm in there fairly easy, so you got some room to work. Break the nut loose. And you can see actually once it came off, it spins right off with your fingers. Then what we're going to do is grab the arm and just simply rock it back and forth. Now you may find, if this is the original arm and this hasn't been off the vehicle in 12 years, 13 years, you may need to get a bar, a small bar or a big screwdriver or whatnot behind it and work it back and forth until it finally pops loose. Sometimes even taking a long extension or a piece of steel rod or a long punch and rapping on the very area of where the arm meets the shaft. You don't want to hit it too hard. Those shafts are fairly fragile, and if you break the shaft off, now you're going to be replacing the motor. So we'll grab and re-pull. Okay, in this case we got one stuck on the shaft. I'll use this is my gentle persuader, and that will just put in behind it and twist a little bit. And she's off. Now you probably don't have to use anything quite as big as that, but it does work. And we'll sneak our hand down, pull the rest of that washer line out. So now you've got the arm out. If you got a good blade on there and you want to save the blade, these are essentially just a pop-off design. You take a small screwdriver and insert and twist. Alright, we'll set that blade aside. Now, just to make it easier, what you can do is take this cover off before you install the arm. And you can just take a small screwdriver and get up underneath and just give it a little twist to release it. Same with the other side. Then we can install that once we get the arm in place. So, first we're going to set that over the shaft. Because the base and the arm are spring loaded, you may need to wiggle that around and push in so that it actually seats on the shaft. And bring that down to right about where it should be sitting. We'll put the socket on there, tighten that up. And we'll slip the hose through that grommet. This is all a matter of feel. There we go. So that's in there. Don't forget to put your wiper on. Now, we're not going to put the cover on as of yet. What we're going to do is get the line hooked up inside, and then we're going to let this go through one swing to make sure that when it does return, this is the position it sits in. We may need to do a final adjustment, and then once we've done that, then we can put the cover back on. So, we'll raise our little flap and plug the check valve into the line. I'm going to make sure it's fully seated, just so that the line doesn't pop off when you're operating the washers, because otherwise then you're going to be taking the panel back off. And then just push that back in until that little check valve seats against the grommet. And we'll set that behind the brace. And you can just leave it, let this lie, or if you want some duct tape or some black tape just around to seal the moisture barrier. Pull all the broken pins out. You can use that with a pair of diags. Set the good ones in the corners in the center. Pop your panel back on. We'll put your bezel back on, and then we'll do a final sweep and then check for a final adjustment. Alright, so what we did was we hopped in, we turned the key on, pushed the washer button, let it run through its sweeps. This way we make sure both the washer is working and the wiper runs into its final setting. And we got lucky. We go dead center, parallel with the bottom molding of the rear window. So now we're just going to make sure that that nut is nice and snug. We're going to slide our cover right over the top, and it's just a matter of popping it in place. And where the two pins are, just give it a little squeeze to lock it in, and you're done. So when you're ready to change over the rear wiper arm on your Disco 2 from 99 to 2004, give a call to any of our knowledgeable salesmen at 1-800-533-2210, and thanks for watching.